Hey, all right, you guys. This is Donovan Sadiq, the Inland Empire Informer. And like I told you tonight, instead of me hollering and screaming and calling the mayor a deadbeat, an idiot, criminal baka, and all that other stuff, we're going to throw all that away today because I want to talk about something that is really bothering me. I am seeing all of these people, young people with these cars, driving down thinking they have a classic and the rims cost more than the car that it's on. So we're going to talk to a guy who's a Moreno Valley original, been here a long time. Right now is currently serving with the Keesler Air Force Base, United States Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunters. And for those of you guys that don't know what a Hurricane Hunter is, those are those C-130s that go through the eye of the hurricane and they spot and they sort hurricanes, because we have that down in the Gulf all the time. So our tax dollars are constantly be given to this unit that can't stop a hurricane, but they can just tell us, we got satellites that can do the very same job.
Yeah, we see
So
them. We see them. We see
yeah,
the
yeah,
hurricane. We feed them and
there you
drive
go.
them.
Right. So we have Master Sergeant Donald Ray Maloid, who goes by his classic car name, Smoke Dog, on the show. Hey, Smoke, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, how you doing, man? Greetings from
Yeah,
Mississippi.
Mississippi, man, Mississippi.
Don't ask me why I'm still here, but I'm just here to do a job.
Right, right. Hey, I hear you. Behind me right now, I see two of your cars. Just tell us a little bit about how did you get interested in cars? Period, just in general.
Well, from for starters, from the beginning, when you and I were kids, you remember we grew up in Fullerton, California, and you remember growing up in the boys club, and remember the some of the Hispanic guys that worked there. Remember Al and the Johnny Bravo and all those guys.
Bravo's,
Remember
yeah.
when they used to have the old school rides and stuff like that, like they still do in California to this day.
Mm-hmm.
I've developed that passion because it was the art, it was the style, it was the care that one person would give for a vehicle. And even though it takes you to work, it takes you to get groceries or whatever you have to do, it kind of sticks with you because they are passionate about the car. So they put the paint job, the rims, the hydraulics. They make their cars do things that normal cars don't do, where most people, they just get in them and get out of them. Where and with them being old like that, or how you say, early models, you're basically rolling in history, automotive history. So keeping them beautified, and then they're mixing with the late model cars in the mainstream. It's an anomaly, and everybody's going to notice that car. It's not something that you show off, but yes, you can. So the culture that you and I grew up, we were a part of that culture because most of our friends had older brothers and dads that were in that. So that's kind of how I kind of got a little taste of it, because when Al, because he worked in the wood shop, and I remember his car was parked in the back, and I want to say it was a 78 Monte Carlo, the popular one, long body and everything. And we were all taking turns while he was hitting the hydraulics and stuff. And, it was just nice. The interior was nice. The outside was nice. And that was just something that it was his pride and joy. And it kind of stuck with me, I always say when I see those guys, I want one like that. I want one like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, it just kind of stayed with me, and I've always had it. And of course, again, growing up in California, that's all you see. That's all you see is on the weekends. What is it are we going to do this weekend? Well, you know what? Let's go find a car show. You don't have to look far, at least back then. You just roll to a plaza where, like, remember Green Burrito and, places like that, just, places where the culture is, the Latino culture. And
Right.
it's just synonymous with the car. So what do you see? You see them old school rides. I don't know what car clubs they are, but they're showing off their rides, and you can appreciate that kind of stuff. So,
Well, one thing we know about having classic cars, you got to have money and you got to have skill. So, I mean, what did you do to prepare yourself? I mean, did you know that you were going to be a car enthusiast and in the cars? And currently, before we even get into that, what do you do for the Hurricane Hunters currently? And does that help you in your classic car endeavor?
Well, yeah, being mechanically inclined was something that we've developed. Because it starts with the arts and crafts. You become a perfectionist in the detail, and I know you remember, and that's it. I can only talk back to when you and I were kids. You remember Uncle Bennett when I took apart his radio, and he
Yeah.
got so mad because I didn't realize that it was a actual weather radio, those expensive ones. And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why I took it apart, but I just wanted to see the inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got mad, I was so scared. I put it back together, and thank God it worked. But um, the transitioning from that to actual mechanical stuff, I guess you would look at it as there are certain kinds of people that are more theoretical, where they're book smart, and then you have the ones that are practical, where it's like I got to do it with my hands. I got to touch it. I got to feel it. I can look at it and tell how it operates or what that noise is coming from. So it's kind of in reverse. My mechanical ability actually came from that and into cars, where Uncle Victor Davis, he taught me the mechanics of cars and stuff. And then I applied that to actual aircraft mechanics, because the disciplines of mechanics is just that. When you hear the old term righty tighty, lefty loosey, that means
Mm-hmm.
something. You turn a screw to the right to tighten it, and you turn it to the left to loosen it. The same thing goes to being able to judge, like, okay, like you look at something and says, oh, that's rusty, or that's cracked, or that's corroded, or something like that. Because when you are mechanically inclined and you're working on something, your mindset is, I must renew, I must repair, not just tear it apart just to see what it does. You're facing that challenge of wanting to get it or make it better than it was, and then you go from there. So with all that, I left the Marine Corps and I joined the Air Force for that. Of course, that was your idea, of course.
Yeah.
But
You had to feed your kids. You had to feed your kids.
That's right. You can't be a grunt all your life. But
Right.
in the Marine Corps, I was actually electronics equipment repair specialist. That was my actual specialty. But I ended up in a grunt unit, so no regrets. But also, when I went into the Air Force, they sent me to school and everything, and actually picking up the disciplines of aircraft mechanics. It's a little bit more challenging because it's very critical of what you do and how you do it, and you must do it in the way that the engineer designed it to be done. So too much torque, too much this, or the wrong part, the wrong screw, all would have a detrimental effect to the engine or to the aircraft itself. So the disciplines are very important, and the knowledge applied to what you're doing is paramount. Because I mean, anybody can take a screw and put it in something, but what kind of screw is it, and what is it that you're putting it into? Because you're dealing with metallurgy, you're dealing with the theory of metals not how you said meshing together. Like, you can't put stainless steel and aluminum together. You have to have something in between, because corrosion will actually will get really bad. So with the hurricane hunters, well, actually my actual job description is propulsion technician. Okay. And some people, that sounds like, oh man, you can kind of work for SpaceX. No. Propulsion, which means that I'm basically a jet engine mechanic, but I work on a C-130J model, which is the newest aircraft. Hercules, but it's a jet engine with a propeller on it, and very powerful, very versatile, takes off short runways. What I do is I ensure that that engine stays, that engine is maintained at the parameters that it's set for. 47 shaft horsepower engine. It's a Rolls-Royce AE 2100 D3. I don't know if there's any newer engines coming out, but they're always working on them. I am a craftsman, which means I'm basically the master mechanic, and you learn a lot by monitoring, learning. Just always something new with mechanical items, because they do different things. So I've been doing that for about 18, 19 years. I love it. It's easy once you get over the hump of guessing and all that. You kind of like say, I've seen this before, or I tell a lot of guys when I train them, it's like, you know, it says, well, this is what's going to happen if it does this. This is what's going to happen if it does that. Backed up with the job guide. You know, I'll tell a lot of guys, well, it's not in the job guide or it's not in the fault isolation. I says, well, that's right. It's not, but it's going to be there because this is a new characteristic that's happening with it based on its environment. So I always tell them, you know, I've seen a thing, I've done a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. So in the training, you know, when you really get it down, you can really apply it and you can actually train people to understand it more because you do have to think outside the box sometimes, you know.
Yeah, wasn't there an incident where there were some Air Force guys down there that took a truck and put a T-56 engine on it, and you know, try to was that you? Were you involved in that?
No,
Trying to modify? No, I'm messing with you. But let me ask you this real quick. You know, unfortunately, we have a whole generation of young men that you see driving their girl's car, and these young men can't even change the oil in the car. You know, the car breaks down, they just get out and they walk away. Did you take any auto mechanics while you were in high school? And what's your stance on vocational trades coming back into the high schools?
You know what I say about that? I say it needs to be brought back, and it needs to be brought back with force. It needs to be something that is just as important as algebra because with the way our society is, everything is automated. You need those people that can actually put things together. The engineer is going to design it, but that engineer is not going to always be there to fix it. So you're going to need a mechanic that's at least 90% trained to fix it. You know, things that I've noticed in my lifetime, you know, and in our lifetime as we grew up, I do remember when we were little, of course, how we used to tinker. Remember? When we used to go visit our uncles and cousins and all them, and we used to find an old lawnmower and we used to put it together and stuff like that. And we used to go and get our little hustle. Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
But you know,
damn shame when you're poor.
Yeah, it is. But man, I tell you what, the frozen cups hit the spot on a 90-degree day. You know what I mean? So, you know, and people appreciate, even though we've been getting ripped off, not getting paid for what we should be getting paid, but you know, equal pay for equal work. But what's lacking, I've seen. What's wrong? What? Hey, we have a critter that just run across the floor.
Oh, there you go. Well, you are down in Mississippi. There's bugs everywhere down there. So
hey, the spray is over there. Anyway, what I was saying is, you were saying about what's, you know, the vocation. Okay, it really starts in the family. You know, you have that family dynamic where the dad has to go to work and, you know, he has to maintain his vehicle so that he can get the family, you know, get to work, get home, get groceries, do whatever they got to do. And, you know, everybody knows it's kind of lacking, you know. Now, no disrespect to moms and the females out there, because there are some that can do it and there's some that can kind of get through it. But for us males and some females that are really, really inclined to, you know, getting the job done, that's what's lacking. Because, you know, when you're driving by, or driving by and you see a car broke down, and because I remember what you had told me, that one guy where you said you was going to stop, but you picked up what was going on, where she was changing the tire and he was on the phone. You know,
right.
We don't know what they were doing, but the thing is, it's kind of like, dude, you should know how to do this, you know? And of course, you know, my two older daughters, I kind of made it my business, because they're my oldest daughters and they're going to be driving first. I made it my business to teach them a little bit of the basics that will kind of see them through when they do have trouble, you know, breaking down and or assessing an issue with their car or whatever. You know, I would really, really like to see more males getting into that field. And there's nothing wrong with being, you know, theoretical with a lot of knowledge and stuff like that, but you still have to put hands on an item in order to get that item to work. So you can be book smart all you want, but if you don't know the difference between a ball peen hammer and a claw hammer, you're going to have a little bit of trouble. So I think a young man and a young lady should be kind of like equally yoked when it comes to that type of practical knowledge and theoretical knowledge.
Yeah, the reason I bring that up is because here at March Air Reserve Base here, I'm talking to my old buddies, the old officer corps, some of the old NCOs, which I don't like. Uh, and they're saying one of the biggest problems that they're having with the new recruits is these kids have no mechanical skills.
Oh, wow.
You know, and that takes a lot of man hours away from, a guy ready to go and get their hands dirty, and get in there and get it. Like I said, I'm not tooting my own horn, but you remember me and my friend Mike, we could be out there all day, just the two of us, turning aircrafts and doing what we got to do.
Yep.
And he says that's one of the biggest problems that, a lot of these young men and some ladies, and I wouldn't expect the lady, I'm not trying to be chauvinistic, but I'm just saying, if you're going to come in the career field, do the job.
Right. Right.
So,
and basically do the job. And, you're right. Dude, I deal with that to this day. Now, again, with because I'm an air reserve technician, I'm kind of like active duty, but the reservists that we're supposed to train every, not every weekend, but 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year, it's easy. There are some certain fields where you can kind of fake it till you make it, where you can pretend to be doing something and actually get by. But as long as you get that GI Bill and get your college degree, you move on in that direction. But if you're going to get into a field where it requires you to put hands on, you probably made a mistake, because you can't be in a field like mine and just think you're going to skate by, because people are going to carry your weight, especially me. I'm a senior rank and I'm still turning wrenches because there are no one coming up under me, and I try to train them that are really interested in the dynamics of mechanical items to repair and keep going, maintaining, engines and stuff like that. But they want all the glory. I'm saying, like, I tell a lot of them, I says, hey, this is a rugged job. This is stuff that you're going to have to, we change propellers. We used to tear apart turbines and rebuild them and stuff like that. We take engines off of wing and put them on the wing. You got to know how to do that stuff, and you got to know how to work the tools and equipment. A lot of these guys, they come here and it's like, you don't feel like doing it, ain't ready to do it. They try to find some way out of it, and it's kind of like, well, hey guys, this is real world mission stuff.
Real stuff.
You can't be half stepping. I've learned over the course of several years to be patient with a lot of people, because it's not their forte and they basically stuck doing it. So you got to make the best of it. So I train them. I says, look, you cannot go to the desert, the AOR, with half the knowledge that you could have attained here. And they do take it out there. And let me tell you, they get in trouble, because what they don't realize is, when I say real world missions, and this as well as I. Now, so you Donovan, you're flight crew. You know what I'm saying? You was crew chief for a while, and then you ended up flight crew. So how it was on both ends. The flight crew relies on maintenance to ensure that aircraft is ready to go. And I tell a lot of people, don't call us knuckle draggers, because all we do is drag wrenches around, because if the engine don't work, the plane don't fly. It ain't no glider either. So
right. I used to tell people all the time that's why I would always wear my maintenance. I made sure I wore my maintenance badge above not above my wings, but with my wings, so that when I ran into a maybe a senior person like you, or even a younger person, they know that I was down there, and I know what they're talking about. I know what they're talking about, or I have an idea.
Right. And that's what I noticed too. There are some air crew that are with our unit, the 815th and the 53rd. Some of them do. They have transitioned from maintenance into that. And they're actually cooler people to deal with, because they have a good understanding of what's going on. And I'm not just saying that from an engine standpoint, but avionics, hydraulics, stuff like that, whatever their specialty was back before they became air crew,
Okay.
So like I said, the vocation thing should be more enhanced in this day and age, because again, automation is automation, but automation is mechanical. So what do? You can be IT all day, but that IT controls a widget, it controls a motor, it controls, whatever. I mean,
right. And not everybody's going to be going to college. I mean, you got everyone. So, Yeah. So Shantae says, I had an airman that couldn't even change the tire. Imagine me out there teaching young men how to change a tire.
It's
You know,
kind of like it's kind of weird because normally part of the chivalry thing is when a lady breaks down, a good man will come by and he'll change a tire for her so she doesn't get her little hands dirty and stuff, which is fine. It's just fine. I mean, it's a dirty job, and we men are equipped for that kind of stuff because of our design. We're strong and
right.
whatever. I can't lift the
No,
truck up.
Shantae, no. Shantae was in logistics. She was in the Air Force. So she's saying basically,
Mhm.
she actually experienced that airman that couldn't do his
Oh,
job.
well,
Yeah,
okay,
he couldn't do
okay.
his job. So, but
Damn.
let's transition a little bit. So,
Okay.
you got interested in cars and stuff. So, tell us what was the first classic car that you actually owned?
Oh, well, let me tell you, the first class. Well, I wouldn't. They're probably
It's a
classic now.
classic now, but
Well, let's put it this way. I guess at the time, uh, shoot, that doggone 1974 Ford Torino, that first one.
Reno,
Remember
yeah,
that
yeah,
that CW got us.
yeah.
We went all over California with that thing until yeah, funny story. But hopefully nobody who worked at that Home Depot or Riverside knows.
No, it wasn't a Home Depot. It was an auto parts store. I forgot the name. I don't think it's around anymore.
Okay, good, because no, but it was a Home Depot fence we took out though.
Right.
Remember?
No, you took it out. I didn't take it out. You took it out.
Oh, the dude scrambled the doggone transmission gearing
All
anyway.
right.
So,
Wait. Shantae says, "What is your dream car to rebuild?"
oh wow, to rebuild. Let me tell you something about rebuilding a car. It takes a lot of money, a lot of patience, and tears because you have to have the skill set and you have to have the supply. Um, my dream car, the car that I would love, that I would get rid of all my, well, maybe not. My dream my dream car is a 49, 50, and 51 Mercury. Basically the traditional lead sled. You can chop the top. It got that nice sleek design. You lowered it a little bit, and it is just a fabulous car. But my appetite for cars have grown so much that I wish I had the space to hold them all, because I have a lot of them that I do like, that I would like to have and drive every day. One here, one there, that whatever. So, but I'm happy with what I got now, because of the uniqueness of what it is. You got your Tri
Right.
570, Tri 5 Chevys, and then, stuff like that. That's most popular. I don't have a Tri 5. Don't care for one because everybody's got one. So guess what? I got the ugly three, which is the one of the ugly three, which is the 1954 Chevy Bel Air. And, I bought that from a friend down in Riverside. And it was a, it's the one that's behind you there. you
Mm-hmm.
know uh it's not complete, because they never are. When you have cars like that, they're never complete. It's a lot that I can talk about in regards to industry, location, and popularity. you know um
Well,
it's yeah.
let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. You got into cars, fairly early as a young man. Coming back from Desert Storm and Desert Shield. It gave you the
Mhm.
opportunity to have a few coins because the fact of the matter is, if you're going to get involved in cars like this, you got to have some coin
Yeah.
because it takes certain tools. I
Yep.
mean, there's stuff that doesn't exist anymore that you got to special order and
Yes.
do all this. So you got to have some money. But you had a Barracuda
Oh man, yes,
that
that was
that you
that was
used
my
to keep.
baby.
Yeah, you used to keep a big old toolbox in the back
Yes.
of it,
Yeah.
and you used to ride your daughters in the
Yes.
car.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, that was a 1972 Plymouth Barracuda. I bought it from a Navy guy right there at
Mhm.
right there in Slidell, and the car craze. I can't remember what year it was, but I can tell you this: the car craze did not kick in until maybe a year after I sold it. I want to say maybe 99 or something like that. I mean, it was probably
Mhm.
prevalent in California because it never really died in California. But down here in the South, no one really got into that stuff until California or the West Coast made it really popular. When Foose and all them came out, Pimp My Ride and all that garbage.
Yeah.
That Barracuda was, when I got it, it had a unique. It's like a house. When you're looking for a house and you check out a house, sometimes that house grabs you, says, I like you. I know you like me. Let's get together and be one, right? That Barracuda did the same thing to me because I used to pass by it almost every day coming home from work. And I just finally stopped one day and I asked him, now, yeah, it was a little rust bucket, because down here in the South, high humidity, a lot of rain, whatever. But it had potential. And I'm going to tell you, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. And on my life mistakes, yeah, yeah, a lot. I ain't gonna tell you all of them, but I'm gonna tell you, selling that car was probably one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever did. I mean, not compared to death in the family, but it was one of those things that will always haunt me because soon after I sold it, say about a year later, everybody was buying them up. Everybody was going muscle, and the industry just came back alive. And it's no telling how many times that the industry has done that since cars were invented, because, in the 40s and 50s, you had your jalopies, your James Dean dudes were making cars popular and, hot rodding and stuff like that. Well, yeah, I did the research, never seen the car again, but the guy who bought it from me, he came rolling up in a Roadrunner around the same year, I want to say. But, I knew this guy was an enthusiast like me. So I kind of had this feeling like, what did I just do? Because I sold it cheap, $2,500, and I paid $2,300 for it when I got it, so I could have gotten more, but I didn't know any better, right. And then, of course, when I found out later, a couple of years later, cars like that were going for $20,000, because people wanted to get into muscle, and those parts were cheap back then, so,
right. A lot of people don't realize, if you don't have the skill, you're going to have to pay somebody to, work on these older cars, which is very, you're going to pay a good penny.
Yes.
You had a young family, tell us the hours of working during the day and then going in that garage and like practically living in that garage to do like certain projects on some of those cars.
Well, aside from a car being the family car, that's priority one. You make sure your family car is good to go. Any of you guys out there that are having problems with priorities, you make sure your family car is up to snuff before you tackle your baby in the garage or on the side of the house or whatever. The man hours, you don't even count them, because if you was to sit down and count them, you would probably say you would spend a good part of your life in the garage. I'm gonna tell you, in living in Moreno Valley, you remember that 67 Dodge Dart, the blue one with the black top?
Matter of fact, Brittany just mentioned it.
Yeah, I missed that car. I missed that one too. That was another one that got away, but it wasn't as popular as the Barracuda. I just got to a point to where, sometimes you get a little burned out, because you're constantly tinkering with it and it gets a little old. And of course I was young, so it wasn't that bad, but I had ambition for something more. And at that time, I think around that time, I ended up scoring that 54 Chevy. So I kind of put more of my priority into that one. And then I just used the Dodge Dart, as kind of a get around until, if you said Brittany was on there, I know she knows that one day when I did have to let it go is when I was taking somebody to the courthouse for, he had a case or whatever, and we didn't make it because the transmission just quit on it. And we were like stuck. So it stayed broke in front of Brittany's house, Brittany's mom and dad.
Wow.
And I literally had to go back and forth and fix it in front of their house, but but yeah, you're gonna put in some hours working on cars, but it's a passion, it's a passion, because when you're mechanically inclined, you reap the benefits of a job well done. It's like, I did this, you become a part of the car. It's like, if it makes this sound or it does this, I know why. I should have turned, I should have tightened it, or I should have did this or that. You just become a part of it, almost like surgery,
Right. Tell us about this car here, because a lot of people are asking me about this car here. Yeah. How did you get it? What is it? And, tell us some of the trials and tribulations that you're dealing with in maintaining, being in the South. Because I know one thing about being on the West Coast, and me and you talk about it all the time. The one thing, we have a culture out here, lowrider culture. It's just a lowrider culture out here. We got Route 66. You can go to Pomona, car show, Ventura. Man. It's all out here. You go into Phoenix. It's all out here. So for a lot of people that don't know, every time this guy comes into California for a visit or whatever, he wants to go to Santa Ana to, what's that, California Customs?
Well, that and the truck and car shop, because they have like all the parts that I need,
right.
Yeah.
So just give us a little background on this car and the logistics in trying to get the parts. And
okay, that's an easy one. That right there is a 1960 Bentley S2. It's and it's a Bentley S2 saloon, but when you say coach built means it was sent back to the manufacturer. Now you got to remember, these cars are handmade. They're not off of an assembly line like that truck that's next to it. That is handmade. It takes time to build it, and then it's personalized. So being that it's I bought it from my colonel's secretary, who she's up in age, she's retired now. She's had it. When I first laid eyes on that car, she brought it to work one day, and she knew I was into cars because she caught me out there polishing like my car in the parking lot. I had a 300ZX and I just loved it, but she she looked at it and I didn't know what it was. I saw it from the back and I said, "Hey, what is that?" And she goes, "Oh, that's a Bentley, like that, right?" So I saw I had a couple of little leaks and stuff like that because it was old, and so I was messing around with her and I was joking and I said, "Hey, I'll give you such and such amount of money and my truck, as a trade." And I was just joking because I was like, cars like that, you know what they are. They're wedding cars. They're cars for the rich and famous, blah, blah, blah. But the Bentley is the not as rich car. It is a rich car because it's the Rolls Royce that you really want. Well, anyway, long story short, years go by and life goes on. And she comes to me one day and she says, "Hey, are you still interested in the Bentley?" And I says, "Huh?" She goes, "Remember the Bentley?" I said, yeah. Right. So she goes, "I give you a good deal on it." And then she goes, "Make me an offer." And I was so taken back. Now I'm not telling anybody.
I would have said $1.
I might as well have. The reason why she was selling is because she knew she was getting up in age and she couldn't find anybody to work on it and stuff like that. She never asked me to work on it, and I've never worked on a car like that because it is a British car, right-hand drive. It is everything that they say it is in regards to I can't pronounce the word, the details that are involved in the mechanics of that car. So anyway, I ended up scoring the car. And she said it runs and drives. Well, I thought it did. So she dropped it. She had a wrecker drop it off. So I'm like, okay, let me start it up. Wouldn't start, wouldn't run. It had no brakes. So that's when I knew, okay, she kind of stiffed me there, but I'm like, no big deal. I got it. Right. So anyway, and what was the other part of your question?
The logistics of it, getting, okay, you got this car. Now, you got to put new chrome on it. You got to get new tires for it. You got to, you're in the South. If you're out here, that shit would have been taken care of in a week. Yes.
And, that is a big problem down here. Well, I wouldn't say it's a problem. It's a big challenge because the industry, basically it's not where you're from, it's where you're at, kind of like syndrome. With that car, you don't have a lot of people that own that. Now there's another one like it running around here. But I was for a long time the only owner of that car that runs around because we do have a thing called Cruising the Coast, which is our big car show. But anyway, the challenges that I have with that car and maintaining that car is every part is $100 or more, period. So being mechanically inclined, what does a guy do when he doesn't have the $800 for whatever? You recondition that part. That's what you do. You take it off, you clean it. If you have to replace it, you better do what you got to do. It is all original. I've actually resurrected that car from taking it apart and just cleaning and refurbishing everything, which was something that I've honed in from being in the military. and stuff like that. You know, of course, you know, the wheels and the white walls and stuff like that. Of course, I bought from ordered from Coker and everything like that. But as far as the challenges of the mechanics of that thing, I never seen nothing like it. I could go into the details, but I would lose a lot of people. It is nothing that you would get on an American car.
Right.
It runs smooth and everything. Mm-hmm.
Right. A good question. Like, okay, you know, she's had it for years. You got to recondition the upholstery. How hard is it to get an upholstery shop down there to do? I mean, you guys have this thing called cruising the coast, but you don't.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like you have the support industry to enhance the lowrider lifestyle.
Nope, none at all. Let me tell you, when I said it's original, it is original. The only thing that I was barely able to get done was because it had original leather seats. Now, I'm not a big fan of leather because you have to really take care of leather like you take care of your clothes. So I had the seats redone because the leather was all dried up and it was just gone. So I had it redone. It's vinyl. Looks good. But when I look around, when I look in there, it's like, this is not something that you buy off of out of a catalog. That has to be actually built in, like the headliner, everything in there is like, wow. So when it comes to the industry that California possesses, and maybe Florida and a few East Coast states, because of those standards that they have out there, chrome shops, upholstery shops, mechanics, speed shops, they're not prevalent down here in the Gulf on the Gulf Coast
Region.
you know, but yet we have this giant freaking car show. Now they do exist, but they are so far and few in between that there's hardly any competition. So when you want to get, say, like I want to get my grill redipped, it's going to cost me probably, it'll be well into the thousands, where at least last time I checked when I was in California, they had maybe 30 chrome shops within a 50-mile radius. They're all in competition with each other. So they're going to undercut each other, which is a benefit to the consumer, which instead of me paying $5,000 for chrome dip, I'll probably pay $1,000, you know?
Well,
So,
or the fact that, you know, you probably have your homie out here who has the hookup that might just do it because you guys are in the same car club, or they just like your car and they want to work on it with you and get some experience in doing that. So
right. But a lot of guys, they go to Houston, you know, they'll drag the car to Houston and have them work it out there, because there's a big industry out there in Houston and San Antonio. You know, now I would like to do that, but man, it's hard to really budget your time to get out there because it's 6 hours from here. You know, Atlanta.
And you got a job.
Yeah, and I got a job. I got to be at work. You know what I'm saying? So guess what? I got to put it on the back burner. So I got to make do with what I got. You know?
Okay. One big question that I have for you, and maybe it's just something you need to tell people who are, you know, a lot of gentrification is happening out here in California, and some people are, you know, taking up stakes and they're heading down to Texas, Galveston. They're heading down to Houston. They're heading down to Alabama and Florida. What is the one? Okay, now you have a steel car there. That's like some steel in that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I used to be a mechanic. That's one of the, to me, and you don't live far from the Gulf. That's one of the worst areas to have a car because of the corrosion.
Yes, definitely. I'm losing that battle. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm losing the battle with corrosion because, of course, you see, you know, the car. I don't have a garage. I have a carport, and I cannot put a car cover on the vehicles, not for a long period of time, because of the humidity. Because if, you know, the 54, I had to tear out some of its interior because freaking black mold got in it, you know, because of the car cover. And I was so upset, you know, I had to take the headliner out because it was gone, you know. And it's because when you're working a lot and you don't get a chance to go check every now and then, which in California, what do you do on the weekends? You uncover that sucker, you hit the road, go to Pomona or whatever in your old school ride, you know. Well, out here, we don't really have that. You know, they don't do a lot of car shows. They have cruise ins, but it's not the same. You know, it's not like, you know, hey, what's up, guys? I'm not part of a car club because it's a different culture here. It's all about muscle, pickup trucks, and playing in the mud. Everybody wants me to take my truck and go dip it in the mud. It's like, dude, why? You know, because I've seen guys who've done that and they still haven't got the mud out of the truck, you know? So it's like, that's not my style, man. So I try to bring the West Coast here, you know, because they say, why you lower it? It says, because it makes it right. You know what I mean? So I just, it's just something that, you know, you get used to, you know, you just kind of assimilate into a new culture, but you want to try to give them a little bit of yours and stuff.
Right.
So
So, you know, so when you do have the time to take the vehicles out, you know, like out here, you know, guys will be sitting out. Well, before the pandemic, they'd be sitting out with their car clubs. And you
yeah,
got this 50, 60-year-old lady. She's got the bikini on and the G-string showing, and he's grilling in, you know, in the thing.
yeah, a
So,
little
you know,
sag
I
going,
mean,
yeah,
yeah, she's still, but you know, she's still living the life, right?
yeah, oh yeah,
So
that's right.
so I mean, is that what you and your wife do every now and then, and kind of show them the culture of like being the rebel
Well,
thing?
you know, we try that sometimes, and you know, she's like, I'm tired, I'm tired. So I go by myself, but every now and then I'll drag her out and we'll cruise around because, you know, a lot of, I would say a lot. There are some who still have old school cars. They will take
Yeah,
them out and they'll go somewhere. But, you know, even though the South is known for its cuisine, you know, where you can go to restaurants and stuff like that, you know, it's I mean, like I said, recreational eating. I mean, I'm trying to get away from
yeah,
that, push away from the table. But, you know, I do like to get out and style and profile and stuff. But, you know, you really got to have places to go and
mhm,
things that are worthwhile, you know. I'll go to the mall and stuff like that. You know, people will give you compliments and say, hey, it's a nice car. And then you just go about your business. But there's just nothing like the West Coast, man, because we have, like, I'm walking distance, well, jogging distance from the Gulf, you know, the beach,
right,
and we go out there and park. People will stop and stuff like that, but it's not it's not Newport, it's not Huntington, it's not, you know, whatever. It's,
right.
you just got a beach. It's not no comparison to West. So I can be out there all day and just be like, okay, you know.
Well, let me ask you this, because remember we were talking earlier, and I told you you were there when Mino Stereo first
Oh yeah,
opened up. I mean, tell us a little bit about that, because you know he's still a legend. He's still going strong out here,
that's good,
and you
man.
know,
That's good because I've been away a long time.
yeah, yeah, you know, and basically, I'm not saying you guys started together, but I'm just saying, you know, you were there when he first
Yep.
started his shop, and you know,
Yep.
you got to get your radio from Mino. You can't
Yep.
do your classic unless you go to Mino.
Yep.
So
Remember,
you know,
remember the Nissan, remember the, well, no, it wasn't a Nissan, it was a Datsun 200 SX. Remember that one?
right, right,
We got our stereo from him. You know,
right, right,
it wasn't great. I think it was like a Kraco or something like that.
right, right.
I think we
You
bought
got to
it off
start. You got
and
to
we tried to,
start.
yeah, we tried to get some speakers and stuff like that. You know, and he was a small business, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you know, like I said, there's a lot I don't remember, but I do remember going in there from time to time to see what's new, because remember, Car Sounds was, it
Yeah.
was all about the boom boom stuff like that. So you
Boom.
wanted to see what you could get, you know. And I just remember, you know, he had a couple of speakers, you know, speaker boxes on the floor, and he had a little display for, you know,
Yeah.
stereos and stuff like that. And that was the gist of it. But he was near us, and it was always a place to stop just to see what he's got new.
Right, right. And you would put that in some of your cars, correct?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah, he's still around, man. He's still doing his thing. Like I said, I call him a legend because, like I said, I remember he started in that little
Is
shop
he
on the
still there
corner.
though?
He's
Is he
still there, but the little shop, he's on the more the main side where where the tire thing
right in
is.
front of him? Yeah.
He's on that side, so he's right on the main street.
Okay. Okay. So he's further up.
Yeah,
Okay. Good. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So his original building's behind him.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
he
That's
moved up
cool.
a little bit. So, but
That's
he's still
cool.
hanging out and stuff like that. Like I said, with what's going on right now,
Uh huh.
businesses being closed and stuff. I don't think people are like rushing to get radios right now, but
Right.
hopefully it won't affect them too much. Like I tell people, you can't be running around talking about Moreno Valley Car Club and you don't get your stereo from Mino. I'm sorry, I just don't see it, because if you needed
Yeah.
the hookup, he's going to give
Yeah.
you the hookup.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but a little bit about it. Um, and I noticed this too about you guys that have classic cars. I don't know where y'all getting y'all money, but you guys have a lot of children. So, so does that go hand in hand? And how many kids you got, and what are their names?
Oh man. Well, you know, I got, you know, actually, I have a total of 6 children.
Right,
Six,
right.
four, you know, 4 of mine, and my wife, she has 2. So, you know, 3 boys, 3 girls.
Okay.
You know, that's the thing. Somehow a man who's into his passion has to he has to sneak a little bit of money off to the side for himself to get what he needs. That's why a lot of men who have these cars are up in age. Not saying that they're all doing it like that. Some just start late, or some just take their time, and then some of us, like me, I've always said, now you may have heard me say this many times, I will not be, no offense to the older gentlemen out there, but I will not be that gray old man with the white goatee, pot belly, shorts that don't quite fit, black socks, posturepedic shoes, with a hobble, standing next to a sexy car, because it's like, dude, you spent your whole life putting it together. Now you're done. And now it's like your sex appeal is gone, because in the West Coast, when you go to a car show, and I always say car show, the bud girls, the magazines, they come out and say, "Can we take a picture with your car?" And it's like, here you are, you all like wore out and stuff. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I used to have a chiseled chest and stuff. Next thing you know, she's my wife and whatever,
Exactly.
I'm just looking at the
Yeah. Right.
I gotta
keep it. Yeah, exactly. So so you got the 6 kids, you got one grandson.
One grandson.
So as you get older, having one classic car is expensive. You got 2. As you're going to get older, what's going to happen to the cars, man?
Well, dude, that's and that worries me a lot. Not that it's like this. You try to raise your kids around the car culture, and show them a little appreciation for cars that are that old. No computer. It's all gas, wires, and just go. Boys are usually the ones that are into that kind of stuff. Some girls, but mostly boys, because young boys will inherit their father's ride, and then they'll just make that car better, which is part of that culture. Girls, somewhat. I don't know. Now I've talked with, Jordan and Jasmine, and Dee and AJ, I've talked with them, prior to getting married and everything, about what's going to happen with it. And, the boys pretty much divvied up the cars. Dee would get the Bentley and AJ would get the 54 or whatever. And then, of course, the girls guys like, wait a minute. See, now Jasmine, she's kind of into it. I don't know about Jordan, but I'm pretty sure Jasmine will probably have to lay claim to the cars. But I told them,
Jasmine, real quick, Jasmine says, "That's my car. I bled those brakes."
Well, there you go. See. All right, then. I didn't think she remembered that, but okay, yeah. Now, what the 54? The 54, right?
I think she's talking about the Bentley.
The Bentley? Okay, yeah, because I mean that was a struggle. The brakes on that sucker is a struggle.
She says I helped a lot.
She did. Yeah, well, Jasmine, you helped on both, because she helped me put the back glass in on the 54. She did a good job because we didn't drop it. But well, yeah, it's. I kind of look at both cars as a family heirloom. I mean, not that that's all there's going to be when I decide to cross over, but I would.
Because you took all your wealth and put it in your cars. How selfish are you?
Exactly.
College money, all that stuff.
Yep, priorities, man. You don't want to see what the house looks like, but no, it's a family heir. I consider the cars family heirlooms, especially the Bentley, because who's got one? You know what I'm saying? Who's got one? Hardly anybody has them. The 54 is really your traditional lowrider style car that's popular in the West. But I would like, that the kids keep it in the family and share it. Usually the oldest has the preference. And
I think your girls are gonna let their men drive it and crash it, and then they can't fix it.
Well, that's something, and that's something that I've always considered too, because you know how boyfriends are, because they boys, guys are like, oh yeah, this is my girlfriend's car, and yeah, okay. I do believe in crossing back from the spiritual realm and choking a fool out, but anyway.
So absolutely. So let me ask you this. I mean, you have a mechanical background, you work on jet engines, you love working on cars, which means that even the newer cars now, if somebody had a problem, you can fix the car because you're on cars constantly. You're changing brakes, you're doing all the fuel
Mm-hmm.
lines, fuel filters, or whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I remember one time you dropped a transmission in front of Ifani's house. Remember?
Yep.
You're picking up
I'll
the
never
girls.
forget that.
Yeah,
I'll never forget
yeah.
that
No
night.
jack,
Yep.
no jack.
No
You
jack,
dropped it
man.
right there.
Yep. If it wasn't for that
You know,
doggone day, if it wasn't for that spare tire that was floating around in the
yeah,
neighbor's yard, I wouldn't have gotten it done, you know?
exactly. And you don't see mechanics like that anymore. And they are passing on into the other realm. So, but if I'm a young man and I just got this Cutlass and I've got $5,000 rims on it, is
Ugh.
that a classic?
No, no. Because I mean, I find it appalling that a young man who, he doesn't prioritize. The rims are great. Uncle Vic always says, you work the car, you work its engine, you work its body, you work its interior. Your rims and tires and your stereo system is the last thing that you put in, and because of the cost, and you want to put all your emphasis on the car itself and not the easy stuff. You know what I mean? $5,000 for 20s, I can't stand them. You're gonna put 20s on a car, tuck those suckers in there. But I'm a low
Mm-hmm.
rider. I mean, I like the low stance. These kids
Mm-hmm.
like those, what do they call them, donks? Is that what it donks?
I don't even know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't even know.
They love it out. They love it out here. Case
Yeah,
in
but
point.
yeah, real quick, because you see that, and the car looks like shit. They got these
Yes.
nice rims on it, but it's like, when are you gonna work on
Right.
the car?
Right. And it's all about priorities, and it's one of those things where they see somebody who has one that's all cleaned up and they figure they'll just start there. I'll just
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and go into debt with rims that are going to be out of style in like a year, but then don't do nothing to the car. Man, I have so many stories of the young brothers out here that do it like that, and then they regret it, because you'll see a lot of these rims that are on what used to be Craigslist, on freaking what's that thing on Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, marketplace.
Where's, it's like, okay, well, where's the car?
Right.
Or the motor burnt up, or whatever. It's
Hey,
all
hey,
wrecked.
real quick, the legend Mino is on this thing right now. He says, "No, you get the stereo first."
Well, in his case, yes,
Yeah.
because I know
Okay.
I know we get a good deal.
Right. Okay. But wait. Get the stereo. Just don't put it in first.
There you go. There you
Okay.
go.
Got it. Okay. So we got it. So, but that's awesome though. But yeah. But and that's what I think is missing with the next generation of these lowriders. Even my Hispanic brothers and sisters. The next generation with them. You
Mm-hmm.
don't see the kids working on the cars. You don't see them in the neighborhood driving around, enjoying life, the simple things. I mean, they don't even, I mean, I understand they're getting Americanized and all that other stuff, but the
Mm-hmm.
culture is just, it's like R&B. The culture is just dying. I mean, what's your
You
take on
think
that?
so? You think? I mean, I don't think the culture. I don't think it's going to. I think it's just getting old.
Mm-hmm.
And the technology, I think, is snuffing a lot of the thing. It's snuffing a lot of it out to the point to where, again, automated. The cars, like, okay, for example, everybody wants a Camaro, 69, 68 Camaro. They want those, right? Well, guess
Mm-hmm.
what? What did Chevy do? And I argued
Yeah.
this for years, and I said, they're bringing out all these different versions of Camaros and Corvettes, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants those type, the 67, 68, 69 Chevelles. You know how these modern cars, like, okay, you got the Dodge Charger. Yeah, Hellcat. That's nice. That ain't a Charger. That is not the Charger that I like. So the new generation, they're selling that to them. It's like, why don't
Mm-hmm.
you keep those old school body styles and put the guts of the new stuff in those cars or whatever? I don't get it. I just don't. I mean, kudos for Chevy for bringing back the Camaro to almost what it used to look like.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, whatever. Everybody's got one. Like I said, cruising the coast. Let me tell you, man, I don't go anymore. I might pass by and go back. All those old cars that used to be in cruising the coast, they're no longer there. You know why? Everybody's got a Camaro. Everybody's got a Corvette. Everybody's got a Charger, Challenger, all the same cars. It's like, that's not what Cruising the Coast is. Cruising the Coast is pre-87 and older. But you go out there for the final cruise, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, it's a big traffic jam. And what do you see? Big old pickup trucks, people smoking the wheels. And the old guys like me, they get off the road because these kids, they're hot rodding, and they've been accidents where the kids will catch traction, smack right in the back of a Model A Ford. It's like,
wow,
kid, that's irreplaceable. You just destroyed this car that was one of the first built or whatever. It's the culture. It's just, that's all it is. So yes, that's kind of my heartache is I don't take the Bentley out, because I would probably go to jail if some kid in a Hellcat ran into well, tell you the truth, probably wouldn't worry about it too much because the Bentley is steel. So I'm pretty sure the Hellcat will pay for it, but I'll still whip his ass. But anyway, it's just it's different, and I just kind of feel I've missed my calling because I kind of waited too long. I'm in my 50s, man, and I'm going to be that gray haired dude talking about, come here, girl, come take a picture of my car, that type of stuff.
Right.
So.
For a lot of people, I know you're from California and you're out there, in Gulfport, and you come out every now and then, which is cool, but it ain't the same as living here. But you got your car. Now, remember here in California, you got your car. You can't be taking the vehicle out without stopping where?
But dude, I mean, where can't you stop? There's just, dude, I probably wouldn't get far, dude, if I was there, I would stop, I would go down Sunny Boulevard, of course. In-N-Out Burger, man.
Exactly. Now, do they have an In-N-Out Burger down there?
No, these country bumpkins out here, they run their mouths about, well, In-N-Out Burger, man. Ain't nobody want that stuff. I think they like, I think Rallies. I think Rallies is what they like out here. That's food is garbage, but
a lot of mustard.
And you see, and I did the research. In-N-Out Burger stopped in Dallas, Texas. So that's as far as it went. I don't know what's up with that. I just, we dealing with Panera Bread now. It's like, get out of here.
Right.
But yeah,
right.
man.
So I mean, you're that neighbor. Now I want everybody watching to listen to me real close. This guy's the type of neighbor. He's the guy that has that car that's sitting in the driveway for weeks. Bringing the neighborhood down. He's always out there doing, he's that guy. But I noticed, you don't want to put a lot of miles on your classic car. And like most low riding car clubs, you got to have a trailer.
Got to have a trailer.
So, I mean, when the day comes that you do retire, do you see yourself coming out to the New Mexico car shows, coming west and, partaking in some of the shows? Yes,
dude. My when and you're talking less than 10 years from my retirement, I'm looking at just hitting it, man. Like, I might get a motorhome, we might, me and the wife, get a motorhome, sell a house, and we're gonna be living in that with a trailer on the back. But dang, I got 2 cars. But my thing is to hit those places, and I gotta drive Route 66. I haven't even done it, and I know it goes all the way into California. I was going to find my way up there and not go from like the beginning of it. I was just going to kind of make my way to it and then just, make my way down into California, Route 66 and stuff, because I've never traveled it, So, but yeah, my thing is to, still display the vehicles because, dude, as time goes by, the parts are getting rarer and rarer. They're more expensive. And there's going to come a time where I won't be able to work on the car anymore because I wouldn't be able to get parts for it. So, and then it'll just have to sit up, and of course I'll probably have to, sell it to somebody who can put it on display somewhere, hell, it might be my coffin,
Right.
That's what the story was before I bought it.
Yeah. You got, let's see. Mino says you're 100 on some of the comments you were talking about. Doris says you're a damn fool. Kai smiling and laughing. Doris said that dude researched In-N-Out Burgers. And Tim Moloch says, yo, check out Smo. What's good? So,
hey, Tim, what's happening, man?
Yeah. So you got a lot of wisdom and stuff, and a lot of things are going on. We appreciate you taking the time to come out here and tell us a little bit what's going on. Just keep us focused on that. But as somebody who appreciates the culture of lowriding, which is basically, and let's give them the credit that they deserve.
Yeah,
that is not a black thing. That was started by the Hispanic culture.
Sure was.
So and they still do it wholeheartedly. But if you had to give a young person some advice, and they wanted to get into the
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying is non-Hispanic person, because the Hispanics know their culture. About if there's another young black man wanting to get into it, or a
Right.
Other kid, what would you tell them? Because they're looking at your Bentley, they're looking at your Bel Air, and they're saying, "Damn, he's got to have some money." What would you tell them?
I would tell them, if that's what you're into, develop the passion. You got to have the passion in order to stay on. Otherwise, you'll get disenchanted and you'll walk away from it. Whatever, go to car shows. You're going to find a car that's going to grab you. You can say, that's my favorite car. And you can score one of those things. That's going to be your lifelong project. Now, if you got money like that, hey, pay Ken Dig or Chip Foods or something like that to restore it or whatever, and then appreciate your car. But there's nothing like working in your own car. It is about passion. It's a hobby. It's a man's hobby. Just like, somebody who loves Corvettes, that Corvettes are in a class by itself. There's just hands down. You don't compare a Corvette to nothing, because it is just what it is. So for the young cats, if they're into that kind of stuff in the old school, it's culture. They like the new school stuff. Hey, even the new schools count. You get your one of them little car, get your Camaro, baby it, keep it clean, enhance it, but don't abuse it. That's the advice I say. Don't abuse it, because you fall in love with that power. So that you put a big 454 big block in there with a freaking stall converter and all that other stuff. Next thing you know, all that money and work, it'll be gone in 60 seconds.
All right.
I remember that.
Right.
I remember a kid had one, and he lost it in a street race. I remember it was over there when they did this before the Fast and Furious. We were coming from Gannon's house, and they were racing. It was late because Gannon usually had a little.
I remember, yeah.
And we parked, and that kid had it was a white Camaro. I'll never forget it, with registered racing stripes. It was beautiful. He rolled it off his little trailer, and we hung out and watched. Of course, Highway Patrol didn't know where we were, because it was in that area off of Mission Boulevard. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know. Right. And he had power. He hooked up on it. It got sideways. It hit the curb and flipped. All that was gone. And that's when I got out of raw horsepower and speed. I like to cruise now.
Right. Yeah. Tim says I'm on my second vet, a C7 Z06.
Woo, man. I think I've seen some of the videos.
Yeah. I've seen some of the videos too. Yeah. See, and here's another thing I want to tell a lot of young people. With what's going on in the pandemic right now, the jobs are not there. You don't have to have a college degree to be successful.
Nope.
You don't. You just got to have a passion, get to it, and know the right people, and you might be able to do something.
Yeah.
But to be a mechanic, you're always going to have a job. I'm sorry. If you're a certified mechanic, be it aircraft, be it automotives, you're going to have a job.
That's right.
And then if you do that, you're also going to have other people saying, "Hey, man, I need some help on this custom, Bel Air." You're a certified mechanic. They're gonna, you're always going to have work. It's going to be just awesome. Right. Penny says it's good seeing y'all together. P says he'll see smoke. Yeah. P Paris says he'll see smoke soon. The convertible is almost ready. Remember P's convertible?
Yeah. I'm waiting to see some more pictures, man.
Yeah. Look. Do me a favor, man. I know you're still working on the car and stuff. Just give us 15 minutes, whenever you want to come on and tell us what projects you're working on, and we'll see the progress of some of your projects.
Cool.
I hope this wasn't too much for you. Some people get afraid, so I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. So like I said, let us know when you're coming to California. You know, the girls, the kids, you know, of course, the kids would love to see, I guess.
Oh
Hopefully,
yeah.
we can get Omari into the cars and stuff, but I doubt it. So,
It all depends on what he breaks off the dashboard.
right, exactly. But we
Yeah.
had a lot of memories growing up, and like I said, it takes a minute, you know, unless you're born into the wealth to get into that lifestyle. You got to have some money. I'm sorry, that's why I'm not really into it. You know, I'm into airplanes, but I'm not really into cars. But there's nothing like landing at Gulfport Airport and a Bentley rolls up
Oh, you remember
to pick
that?
you up. Yeah, you know, people are just looking at you. You're like, you know, who's this guy? You
Yep.
know,
They
and
thought he was. They thought he was a rapper.
yeah, a rapper, a diplomat, or something. But another thing about having your Bentley is people constantly ask you about taking wedding photos, and
Yep. Yep. That's
so
that's kind of a little bit of hustle. You know, some people will hire me out and stuff, but you know, I'm not a business. The car is original, so it's not set up for, you know, just putting around, but I'll hook you up, you know.
yeah,
Um,
for photos or
Yep.
something like
Like
that.
I had a gig
Staging.
before the pandemic, you know, I was but the pandemic hit and you know, they're like the church is like, we ain't marrying nobody right now. You know, we shut down, you know. So so I lost
Right,
that little money, you know.
right. Hey, man. Well, like I said, just appreciate you coming on the show. Like I said, a lot of people want to know what's happening, what you got. Uh, you know, we look forward to whenever you come out back to the West Coast, you know, in the Route 66 and seeing the car over there at the San Bernardino. Wait, I think the Route 66 now goes out of Pomona. I think they
Really?
moved it from San Bernardino to Pomona now,
Oh, okay, okay.
to where they do the, you know, the showing
Hmm.
of the cars
Yeah,
coming down the
yeah,
boulevard and stuff like that. So, but man, I really appreciate. It's been great talking with you.
yeah, man.
Uh,
It's been awesome.
man, keep us posted. Maybe you want to start your own little car show. So, you know, some people, like I said, I tell people all the time, if you want to know how to do something, look it up on YouTube.
Hey, there you go. That's how I can learn a lot. I learned a lot from you too.
Yeah, there you go. All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you again. Thank you for serving the country and for what you do. And man, like I said, let us know when you're in town, man.
Oh, for sure, man. For sure. I thank you for having me, man. It was great. I'm glad you put me out there and some people are on there. So, hey, everybody, I'll catch up to y'all, you know. So,
Right. Look, let me give you the last comment. It says, nah, the blue Z06. I haven't posted it yet. You guys seen the orange one. That's from Tim.
yes,
And Tim,
yes,
yeah.
that's the one.
And, and Tim also says, yes, I can't express the great blessing it is to have the mechanical knowledge in the background because again, Tim also is an aircraft mechanic,
Oh,
A&P
yeah, yeah.
certified.
All right.
Jasmine says, yes, we would like to see you. She must want some money. Uh,
We
and
hey,
says, I love.
Lakeitha wants us to try to come out this summer, but we can't come out if ain't nothing open. Y'all still
Yeah,
shut down.
exactly.
That
Tim
was our
says, I love
plan.
working. Yeah, Tim says, I love working on aircrafts, but love to further my knowledge on tweaking throwback rides. I'm interested in a 1970 to 73 Vet. Can Smoke provide some knowledge?
Oh, easy, man. It's easy stuff. Think about it. You got to know how to work that fiberglass, man.
There you go.
Because the engine and the drivetrain's easy.
But this is what we're talking about. While you're sitting in the pandemic, and I said this to a lot of people, you need to be thinking about something you can do that can either generate money or keep your mind from going crazy from doing that. And like I said, you know, you and Tim talking about cars and stuff.
Yep,
There's another career out there for you, man.
that's
A
right.
master mechanic. There's not many left. There just
Yep.
isn't.
Cabin fever
All
is
right,
real.
man. All right, man. Let me let you go. You know,
All
I
right.
know you got the old lady sitting over there, but again, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you
Keep
for
us
having me.
posted on the car. Hey, like I said, we're waiting to see the Bentley roll down to 66, man.
Hey, man, I'll let you know and say, come get me. We broke down.
Right. All right, brother. Hold on.
All right.
Hey, we'll see you guys again next week. I'm going to be talking about the WLC EIR that just went out and all the bullshit the city of Moreno Valley keeps putting me through. All right. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit.
All right.